Hello everyone and welcome to the STPL. Just me for today it looks like, and I'm horrifically out of practice. But basically, it's a long story. We had like the record-breaking STPL round 3 finals. The day later, I found out some incredibly sad news. I found out that the doctors thought my mom wasn't going to survive a stay in hospital. Then 2 days later, unfortunately, she passed away. So that's the main reason for the break. But I was sitting there and I was wondering, what do we do in this situation? Things did not feel good, obviously. I mean, understandably, right? But I decided to try and use my kind of negative energy to do something. So I made entirely new assets. Hopefully, you guys like them, and should be pretty cool. So I mean, without further ado, we can really sort of get started with this round's STPL. We're in round 4 now. It's kind of crazy. We've been going since last March. We're in the final round of Season 1 before the playoffs, and we should be getting through this one quite quickly, I would say. So the stream for the third place playoffs I am going to do at some point. I don't know when I can do it, but I've put all the results in the overlay anyway, just because we need to get going. I was planning on doing it. It is a cool series, so I do want to stream it at some point. But with everything that went on, I kind of needed a break, and I need to kind of figure out what I was going to do, because I wanted to continue this, and I just didn't know how to do it, because everything felt so hard for a long time, and it still does. But I'm here. I've gone back to work now. I've spent a lot of time doing this. Huge thank you, Doc. What? Doc, what the hell? Okay, well that's one way of making me laugh. Okay, let's introduce this week's maps, and we can get started with this week's STPL. So, have a look. Set 1 is going to be on Holy World SE. Pretty cool 4-player map. Set 2 on New Bloody Ridge, one of our 2-player maps for round 4. Set 3 is going to be on Eye of the Storm, another 4-player map. Set 4 going to be on Great Barrier Reef, a really cool 3-player map. Can't wait to get into games on there. And the ace match, if we do make it there, is going to be on Fortress SE, one of the KSL 1 maps. So looking forward to seeing how that is going to play out. So let me just figure out what exactly we're going to go to, because obviously, you know what, let's start with the rankings. The rankings not as important at the moment, but you can have a look at the teams for round number 4. In Group A we have iRk, BWL, White Clan, Red, NetWars, Naz, and Ash. Some absolutely insane... I mean, when I saw this group, I was like, okay, if we're going to call a group the Group of Death in STPL round 4, it's definitely going to be this one. Just an insane amount of really good teams there. iRk, White Clan, Red, NetWars, Naz, all championship contenders, all playoff finalists, or not finalists, but all playoff teams. And BWL haven't shown their power just yet. Ash as well, but Ash Ash have come back with a stronger roster this time, a little bit more, not enthusiasm as such, but they've got more players in their roster, which really does help them. That was one of the things they struggled with a bit in round 2, round 2 and 1, round 3 as well, a little bit. Round 3 they did a lot better though. In Group B we're going to have Psystorm, DM, Valhalla, Soul Gaming, FBW, Clan Revolution, and Bull. Now, I did say Group A was stacked. Group B is also incredibly stacked. Some insane teams there. Just absolutely incredible. Just really happy with the amount of teams we've been having and things like that. It's been great. Psystorm haven't proven their might just yet, but a strong team nonetheless. DM, a good team. They made it into the playoffs of round 1. Valhalla team, one of the newer teams, hasn't quite proven how strong they are, but they have some very good players on their roster. Soul Gaming, of course, need no introduction. Soul Gaming having Buell, Zealot, YSC, Gan, So many teams that have been really strong throughout the whole thing. Seen got some weird thing going on with my background, but it's all well and good. There could be a few little problems here and there, as this is the first time we use the production environment. But let's have a quick look at the player rankings. This is one of the most important tables. Doesn't really count too much, but you can see the power of some of the players on some of these teams. Yeti, 20 for 4. Kogut, 19 for 5. DeWalt sneaks back in there with 19 for 6. His SK ranking has been put in there now as well, so he's snuck into 3rd with Terra in 4th. So 4 foreigners in the top of the top 10 of the STPL. Famasi, Gan, and Noob are the only Koreans making their way onto that top 10. We've had some insane games from all of these players, but it's going to be great nevertheless. Let's actually have a look at how these teams have been doing. Let's start off with the only iRk. They didn't make it into the playoffs last round, but they have certainly had a very interesting path. They've beaten BWL, they did lose to NetWars, they beat Red, they beat Clan Revolution, beat DM, they lost to Soul Gaming, but they did beat them in round 1, so it's not like they haven't beaten them before. So they'll actually beat them in round 2 and 3. And I mean, just a great team overall. So let's actually have a quick look at their team intro. Coming in here, there's going to be a lot of Goliaths coming in back here. He should be building Goliaths off of all of his factories. And I mean, it's going to take an absolute age for these carriers to kill these tanks. And in the meantime, the tank in the front with 3 kills, 5 kills. GG! Now it looks like the units have been cleared in the top left. The base did go down. This base has gone down in the top right though. Medino mining out is going to have to tap out there. GG! He has the engagement he needs. Let's have a look as we go into here. The tank's getting dropped on at the back. A great engagement by DeWalt. The armory, the army of Vulture evaporating, and GG! This is still going to try and hold on. He's got another storm ready, but I mean, realistically, what is this storm going to do? It kills a lot of Hydralisks at least, but GG! Starfall to maybe get a drop done, but Oyaji is going in. This is going to be the moment that Scan either holds or Oyaji wins this game. GG!
It's showtime.
Okay, so that brings us into our second team, which is going to be NetWars. Now, NetWars did finish 2nd in round 3. They finished 2nd, I believe, round 2 as well. They lost to White Clan in round 2, and they lost to Soul Gaming in round 3. But they put up an incredible amount of effort. We saw that, I mean, NetWars went 4-2 against Soul. Sorry, NetWars didn't come 2nd this time, they came 3rd. No, they did come 2nd. They played against Naz in the semi-final, and then they lost to Soul Gaming in the finals. But they had an incredible, wins against all the teams they've been facing. They had an incredible run in round 2. They took down Naz, they took down DM, they took down iRk. They did lose to Soul Gaming in the group stage as well, which is what put them into 2nd place. They lost to Red also. But NetWars truly the pride of Poland, an insane team, and one that I've been incredibly happy to have in the STPL. They've all done a great job on their roster, and let's go into their intro. Unable to get Hive, the final units from Cadenti actually going in, not even managing to kill a single tank. Great D-matrixes by Kogut, and unfortunately it looks like this is going to be the end of the game. The carapace upgrades are not going to finish. GG! The last race is going to go down, and this is such a good usage of that spell, good usage of the Ghost by Radley with this. Now he's trying to clean it up, but this is too many 3-0 tanks against 2-0. That's not going to be enough for him. GG! Yeah, there's absolutely nothing Praise can do. Sai put up a good fight, but Zero taking down Praise here. GG! And all of Hermon's army is evaporated. I mean, we see Hermon with that bottom left base starting to mine as well. But he's running lurkers to an observer, and GG! Still, There's 7 dragoons even, I can't count. This math is not my strong point today, but this is all of the tanks that Kimflex has. And this counterattack could win the game.
I think
yes,
that's it. Damn.
It's showtime.
Okay, so that takes us into the stat screen. You can see that overall, both of these teams have done very, very well. These wins are actually set wins. So in the STPL so far, NetWars has won 17 of their played series. iRk have won 14. They've played each other 3 times now. NetWars has got the advantage 2-1 with an insane... with an insane roster on both sides. It's really hard to tell exactly how both these teams are going to do. You can see by the stats at the bottom that iRk rely a lot more on their Zerg than NetWars do. And obviously NetWars, 22 for 8. And if you think about it, when you think of the Terrans on NetWars, the main Terran is Koga. I think that's mostly his statistics. And it's just absolutely insane. Huge thank you, Age, for the continuation of your sub. Hopefully that'll pop up on screen eventually, but it means a lot, man. And let's have a look at the rosters we're going to see today. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with a game. This is actually going to be the key match of this series. It's going to be Kenzie versus Radley. We're going to have Jerry versus Bonith. That should be a 6 EVP as well. We're going to go to a PvZ between Kim and Kingpin. And then we're going to go into a TvZ between Rasoi and Zero. So some insane players all across the board. Tim, kind of like the CPL superstar from this season. He's done an incredible job. Kingpin, a very strong Zerg as well for NetWars. Not one of their top players though. We did miss out on True Touch versus the Walt for various reasons on Eye of the Storm. It's fine. I'm most excited, or the match I'm most excited for is most certainly this first one. Now, when we get into the game, I'm going to explain why a little bit, but let's actually have a look at the player stats to see how these two players have been doing. Kenzie hasn't had too many games to show off his skills in round, what was I going to say? In the SCPL in general. Looks like we do have a Rapid, so Rapid is alive, which is awesome. Hopefully we can get him in a call in just a second. I'll back out of the replay I'm currently in, then he can join, because it's really cool. But Rapid's come here once again at 4 AM. In fact, I think it might be 5 AM for him now. Time zones are crazy. Let me start a call with him. I believe I should be on voice activity already, so life should be good. But Kenzie, a really, really strong player. And on the other side of things, we do have the one, the only Radley. Radley is one of my favorite Terran players in the SCPL. He's always ready to show us something new, and hopefully he'll be showing us something new today, because I got some insider information before the game was played of something cool that Radley was planning. Now, whether or not that's going to work, I have no idea. But hopefully we're going to see something cool nonetheless.
Yes, I concur. I do hope that we also see cool things, like games of Brood War. That's all I could say to add to that, because I don't know what you're talking about, but I hope I do by the time that we watch him play.
Yeah, so one more thing we need to go through, or not need to go through, let's actually quickly introduce the map, then we'll have a look at the image and do a little bit of drawing on it as well. So let's show off the map 1. Okay guys, welcome back. So as you can see, we are going on to Holy World SE for our first map. This is a really, cool map to play. It's a cool map to watch as well. It has, you know what? Let's bring up my new feature that I finally figured out how to do. You can see, so for example, if player one starts off here, they have a third gas base in the top left corner here, which does give them access to this gas. The minerals are exposed from the middle here. You can also take the base from the other side as well, which gives you the option of going for kind of an outsider style of expansion to get the mineral only if you've got center map control. Obviously, it is a 4-player map. There is a mineral only the top left-hand or the top corner of each base. They are very small bases, but you still do get a benefit of taking them. And this is funny. I was actually watching an old Pro League VOD the other day, and they were doing this, and I realized I'm actually just gonna make it look worse than them. It's all good. Their drawing was terrible, so hopefully I can do a little bit of a better job.
Okay, yeah. What does Pro League have on the Shinhan Tank Pro League? Honestly, they can only hope to be a shadow of the STPL production.
Yeah, I mean, just one major thing about this map, there's actually a neutral command center in the middle. Zergs can infest that, so that's something we could see today. You also have these 5 neutral disruption webs, which makes it a little bit more interesting trying to push through the map. Obviously, as Terran, you don't want to be pushing forward. With Bio, possibly a little bit easier, but you kind of want to stick to the sides. Lurker's not as powerful on this map. It is a low ground main, so there's room for mutants to head around the edge. I think we should just get into game number 1 and have a look at how this is going to go.
Yeah, I've often just said that Holy World, the only reason that you play this map is because it has a neutral command center in it and you want to invest it. But that's only been done, I think, twice in professional play. Maybe more than that. But anyway, I'm excited, so let's go.
Okay, so starting us off here in the top right-hand position, we do have in the red, fighting for NetWars. It's Radley. And I think we need to do the micro.
Oh, got it.
Nice.
Okay, and his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner in the green as Zerg is Kenzie, whose only job is to build a queen and move it to the middle of the map.
Now, I said before this game, I know you kind of joined a little bit in the middle of one of my conversations, but there was a little bit of insider information I got on this map. I was talking to Radley before the game, and he was planning some shenanigans. Whether or not we're going to see those, I'm not too sure, but it was about 3 hours before his game, and he was like, oh, I don't know if my build is going to work, so I don't know if he's going to do it. He could just play standard. Kenzie, of course, could play standard as well, but it's definitely a possibility that we could see something interesting here, and I'm not going to spoil what it is unless it actually happens, because in case Radley wants to play this map again, I don't want to spoil anything. Now, we are going to have a 9 barracks. We're going to have a 9 supply depot as well, so that is pointing at something cool.
Yeah, and you know, not to totally spoil what it is pointing to that is cool, but I do think the biggest thing that, you know, aside from the neutral command center, let's kind of get that out of the way, is that the more and more that I see Terrans do this gasless expand, the more I think that a lot of times they're just like, okay, well, what are my openers? Is it 1-1-1 or gas or gasless? But I think there's a lot of cool things happening with gasless expos, because it used to be that this was maybe like a little bit greedy because you just want to get your command center out as fast as possible, but not quite a 14cc. But I think that there's a lot of ways that they're doing it now that have the potential to be like super aggressive, and I hope that we have that Kenzie respects that and doesn't just take it, I guess, for granted.
Yeah, I mean, one of the I almost said what build Bradley was going to go for before, but
I almost got you, Kicks.
one of the main things is in this game we see a second barracks coming up. Now Bradley has pushed away that drone. One of the reasons why this is going to be quite strong here is unlike if they spawn cross position, well no they did spawn in cross positions, if they're in close positions it'd be very easy for Kenzie to get an overlord into the main. There's so many angles it can come in from, but Kenzie's not going to be able to see this extra barracks anytime soon.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that he's not going to be able to see it is that if you block the scout, they have no way to get into the base unless they just randomly sent the overlord in that direction anyway. And you know, if it's cross positions, that's probably not gonna happen. So it's kind of a liability to have a low ground main, but then it's kind of a blessing in that you know, if you do spawn cross spawns here, you can go for this. And I think a lot of people think that if you go for like an early racks, like an 8 racks, then you're gonna have to like proxy it or something. It's like no. You can actually just build both of them back in your base as long as you can deny scouting, and then you can still come out with a super powerful, surprising push across the map. And I mean, I feel for the helpless Zerg players out there because it's like, well, you know, what are you supposed to do, right?
Yeah, and one thing that Bradley's done is he pushed up with a few Marines. He didn't show too many, so Kenzie still does not really know what's going on. You can see the Overlord now moving up through the 3 o'clock position to try and get a view on that command center, as the drone was not able to confirm if there was a CC there or not. But you can see that Kenzie immediately going for his third hatchery at this mineral-only base in the bottom left-hand corner, and these Lings are going to go in for a double scout if they can. Does Kenzie get the vision of the lack of command center? He's about to see it with the Overlord, and this is when he's going to know that he's going to need to throw some extra Sunkens down.
Yeah, immediately. So let's see if we can see those Sunkens come down. He's already got one, and he has a drone in position for the second one. So hopefully he actually turns those drones into Sunkens, or I think that's just his rally point. Okay, I was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, we're going to need a couple of Sunkens. I don't know if those are in time, Kicks.
Yeah, this is a bit dangerous. He actually only built the first creep colony when he saw the first fire bat that killed one of his scouting Lings. But I mean, Radley doesn't have that many medics with this. If these Sunkens finish on time, that is not going to be an army that can deal with this. Now, 2 of the Sunkens very close. The drones have been pulled. If Radley can force enough lack of mining time, maybe he can make this work. The first Sunken getting targeted, but the other 2 have finished now.
Oh my god, this is terrible. I thought it was just barely going to be in time, but instead it's barely not in time, and now everything here is going to die. What a tragedy. Although, that being said, he did kill a ton of drones.
He did. There was a lot of lost mining time, but the trouble is Radley does not have a command center. That was most certainly a very powerful play at the beginning of the game. The Sunkens finishing a little bit too soon, and all of a sudden Kenzie is going to have a lot of things to counter. He's also gone into his lair, and he's gone for a Hydralisk den as well, so there could be a large full of Hydralisks coming across here. And what is Radley going to do about that?
I mean, that being said, there are a few things Hydras are just really bad against, and Stim Bio is one of those. So, yes, there's this counter potential, but I don't think it's going to be impossible for Kenzie to hold, or not for Kenzie to hold on, for Radley to hold on. I think he can hold, but it's like, well, your base is so late. The Zerg player has 3 bases for free, and that's never somewhere Terran wants to be.
Yeah, now one thing I did notice is that Radley was actually delayed on his range. His range was only just starting up after his push had ended, so I think he got his range a little bit late. That can be a little bit problematic. The Spire going up for Kenzie in the bottom left-hand corner as well. And Radley is eventually going to be able to get this command center up, but will he have an engineering bay in time to deal with the Mutalisks?
Well, he's got a lot of things to do all at the same time, right? He's got to get a bunker up, just finish that. He does have to get that range upgrade, and I think if you can hold off the early mutas with just bio, then obviously that gives you a little bit of extra time. But yeah, you gotta get down some turrets eventually. So, I mean, I don't know what the plan is, but you can't defend with bio forever because you just go into your base and I don't know. This is gonna look rough.
Yeah, we do have a factory coming in for Radley, so he's going to try and tech up, get those vessels out as he can. Vessels, obviously, with a radiate, going to help him push the Muteless back. But +1 attack is going to be heavily delayed. Engineering Bay only just now starting up. And it's really when you get +1 that this bio starts to become a problem for the Zerg. The first couple of Muteless have popped out. They're going to be heading over to Radley's side of the map. And Radley scanning, not only seeing one of them leaving the base, so
Easily amused, huh?
this is going to be interesting. Huge thank you, Hiro, for the resub. 18 months now, man. How have you been doing this for so long? How have I even been streaming for this long? But here we go, the Muteless getting into the main.
Yeah, Muta's in the main, and how are you going to deal with this? There's no turrets to speak of. There's no SCVs even mining in the main. He's going to try to bring the bio into the main, and then the Mutas just go fly into the natural. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here, but it's not going to look good for Radley.
Yeah, he's going to be running around for a little bit. He's got his Marines in a pretty decent spot to try and defend both bases for now. He does have this bunker, and he will be able to finish his engineering bay eventually in his main. But these Muteless are going to be such a problem, doing so much damage already.
Yeah, there's also a medic in the bunker for some reason, and you definitely need those to heal up your Marines as you stim back and forth between your natural and your main. Also, I mean, I guess there are Zerglings out there, but maybe empty the bunker, man. You're gonna need all the help you can get just to barely hang on against this. This is a full control group of mutas. Okay, well maybe one short, but it is just a lot to deal with just bio.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to get up some turrets now, but things are looking a little bit dire for Radley. Unable to continuously build over his barracks, where he's spending a lot of APM on trying to keep himself alive. But the issue is, this is just round 1. There's going to be Hydra's Lurkers. GG! Radley taps out.
Wow, I guess that was a little bit anticlimactic there at the end, but it was still kind of cool to see him go for a 2-Rax. I think that could have been super potent if the Sunkens hadn't just barely finished in the nick of time. So, I mean, you can't fault a Terran player for going for 2-Rax in those situations. We talked about why it was so kind of sneaky and unscouted.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Kenzie for being able to build his Sunkens in time and winning the game after that.
Yeah, I know the thing is as well, Radley was planning something else, and then okay, this is where the shenanigans kind of come in and kind of get a bit funny, because he was talking to True Touch before the game about what he should do and if it would work. And he didn't realize that Rasoe was in the NetWars Discord, and Rasoe pays for iRk, so he didn't want to go for a special build in case Rasoe gave Kenzie the information, and that's why he changed up his build at the last second and made things a little bit more awkward there for him. But you know what? It was a fun game nonetheless. This is the first game Radley's played in a while in the STPL as well, yet he kind of kept him out of the roster for round 3 for some reason. But it's good to see him back. Hopefully we get to see some Radley strats in the future.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy has up his sleeve, but at least he's trying to build some new strats on some of these new maps. Because you know, I feel like people go quite a bit of time without playing on Holy World. So I'm glad that he is at least kind of trying to play to the map instead of going into a new scary dark wasteland and trying to figure it out. You know.
Yeah, so that's cool. But let's get into game number 2. We get back after this short break. Hello guys and welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix. Joining me is Rapid here for set number 1 of today's STPL.
That's right. It's good to have STPL back after a very long time. It's good to have you back, chat back, the games back, everything else. And after game number 1, I think you're starting to see... Dude, imagine, Kix, if you're a person watching and you've never watched STPL before. You just come into it and it's this insanely high production, well executed, handsome broadcast, and you're just like, wow, you know, maybe I've missed out on four rounds of STPL, and you go back and you're like, all right, let me start from the beginning, and you go back and watch STPL round 1, which was like, was it a year ago? It's like a very long time ago. We've come a long way since then.
We have, and I mentioned a little bit before, but unfortunately I got some, well, people already know, but I got some horrific news in January, and rather than use the negative energy that was surrounding me to kind of wallow, I decided to put it to try and make something. So I took what I was doing on round 3 and round 2, and I decided to throw that out the window and try something new. And here we have round 4. We have an entirely new set of production. The overlay system's the same. New database though, thank you to Radley as well. He's a really cool guy who helped out a lot with that. But we've got this new retro wave theme. Hopefully you guys like it. It took me hours upon hours to get it all right. Hopefully it looks good. But we're going to head into game number 2 here of our first series today. So we're going to have, for iRk, it's going to be Jerry. And Jerry's been a pretty sick player throughout the STPL. He had a little bit of a break during round 3. I believe he's actually a Korean living in the UK, which is kind of a rare occurrence. And also, it's another person in the UK playing Brood War, so that kind of doesn't make any sense, but he's done a sick job so far. He's currently 2-0 against Protoss. He took down White, as in DM's clan leader and first, to get to this position, and his opponent is going to be Bonith.
This is gonna be so sick. I'm every game that I get a chance to watch Bonith, I'm inside. I'm a sick fanboy, but I think outside of my bias, you can see just why it's so incredible to watch Bonith play. His win rates are actually not like super insane. It's what is it, almost 60%? But the people that he wins against, his builds when he plays to his strengths are pretty amazing. And I think at the end of last season, he actually had a really sick series against Ku, who's killing it for Red, and very, very strong player. I think it's impossible to take that away from him.
Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be Bonith versus Jerry K97 Foxan, and let's introduce our second map. Okay guys, welcome back. So, we're having a look at our second map here. It's going to be our 2-player map, Bloody Ridge. And our new Bloody Ridge is a really cool 2-player map. It kind of got introduced near the end of Professional Brood War in 2010, beginning of 2011. It's a 2-player map. This is the final version of this map. There's a lot of different versions of this map sort of plastered around. The IC Cup versions are wrong. They're actually out of date. So I got the official Casper release from the Naver blog when it was originally posted, and it's got the small choke. So one of the major differences you'll see on this map is this choke here. In fact, I should probably light to color this, because it makes it a little bit easier to see, and apparently I am bad at doing this, but it's all good. You see this choke here, it's only 1 depot wide, kind of like that map in ASL 6 was Autobahn, where you have the very small choke. Now, the reason why they did this in earlier versions of New Bloody Ridge, it actually had a depot barracks wall, which I think they thought was a little bit awkward. It made it a little bit difficult for pretty much everyone to kind of beat Terran super early, but it also made it very hard for Terran to go and expand, because there was a lot of early cheese that you could die to. There's quite a lot of buildable area in the middle. You can see that the ridges, as defined in the map name, are the two sets of ridges that sort of split this map in half. It is a two-player map. It splits diagonally, which is kind of interesting for this kind of map. Sometimes you'll see the map split vertically in a longer game. Sometimes you'll see it split horizontally. You actually have three additional gas bases, no mineral onlys on here, and there's actually there's a sort of double gas, double mineral base in the middle. But of all the games I've ever seen played on this map, I don't think I've ever seen a single person take that middle base.
You'll notice that the O's were about to win if they had only placed one of the O's in the middle, because then you'd have 3 in a row. But the X's blocked it in the middle, so we're not going to win tic-tac-toe just yet. But you might learn something about New Bloody Ridge.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into game number 2. New Bloody Ridge, it's Jerry versus Boneth. Starting us off here in at the top right-hand position, we do have the White Zerg fighting for iRk. It's Jerry K97.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner is one of the best non-Korean players in the world. This is Boneth in the yellow as Protoss.
Yeah, Boneth is one of those players that hasn't, I mean, when you compare his stats to someone like Yeti, someone like DeWalt, he's not played as many games in the STPL for NetWars. I mean, he did have a break. I mean, I think he was playing for the entirety of round 1 for SK, and then SK got disqualified due to a little bit of drama with their clan leader and the clan kind of disbanding on itself. But then he joined NetWars shortly after, went to play Heroes of Might and Magic for a while. But he's back, he's been a little bit more active recently. He's made it into the BSL Pro League, of course. I mean, as I said, he is one of the best foreign players at this current time, and PvZ is definitely his speciality matchup.
Well, I mean, it's not just that it's a special matchup, it's that he is so good at... If you're new to watching Boneth, then you've got some catching up to do. He's so good at Reaver play that even though Sarah Reaver is maybe not as popular as it has been in the past, he brings it back and makes it look like it's the best build Protoss can do, just because he is so good at it. So I hope that that's the direction we get a chance to see, because it is one of the reasons his PvZ is so good.
I mean, Boneth already sending out a very quick probe after that. I think he actually gateway scouted there, which is kind of crazy, but probe does go down. Jerry doing a really good job with his drones, going to be able to get that hatchery up without any problems.
Yeah, I think Boneth was committing to killing that drone, but he was 1 hit off, so he might have been 2. But the idea is, it sucks to lose your probe this early. This is most definitely not a BSU probe. And for a Protoss player, that kind of means you got to send out a second one, because it's really important to know what the Zerg is doing early on. Yeah,
the thing is, Boneth didn't get... I mean, he did scout that there was no hatchery down already, so he knows it wasn't a hatchery first, so he should know that there's links on the way. But Boneth does not care about links. He's sending his first zealot out on the map already. Boneth, well known in the foreign community for his zealot micro, but I mean, 1 zealot against 6 lings, that's not a fight even Boneth can take, and you see him turning around almost immediately, but Boneth gets his probe passed.
Yeah, getting the probe passed is super important, because you can find out what the follow-up is and prepare for it. He's going to see that there's no gas geyser yet in the main that has just been built, so that should let him know a little bit more about what to expect. But, I mean, this is still 6 lings, so you got to respect it. He's got 2 zealots, and so in theory he should be able to hold on here, but you can't let those lings in your main.
Yeah, you can't. We can see the 3rd hatchery is now going up for Jerry over at that 3rd base position. So Jerry looking to take this a little bit further in the game, not going for a far third, but it is a 2-player map. Very short rush to realistically side, so not any super far thing to do. But he didn't go for a forge straight away, went straight for the Nexus. And he is actually losing this gateway slowly but surely, and he doesn't have a proper wall. And there's a big Ling flood coming in from Jerry right now.
Yeah, he's got this is one of the risks of gateway expand, is that if you get flooded before you can stabilize and get your cannons up, bad things are going to happen. And not to mention, like you said, Kix, he's already lost half or like all the shields on this forward gateway.
Yeah, and the Zealots are actually losing their shield at a crazy rate as well. The Lings, I don't think they can get around on the right-hand side at least. We see Jerry holding on. He's actually trying to do a really good job juking and driving around these Zealots, but Bonneth's Zealot micro has been absolutely stellar so far, not losing a single Zealot as of yet, despite being crazily outnumbered.
Right as you say that, he loses the Zealot. But the idea is, yeah, he saved it for a long time, and I think, is he going to give up on that? Okay, you got to save your gateway. That's mission number 1.
Yeah.
Mission number 2 is trying to keep the Zerglings from hitting it. And I think he's accomplished that. The gateway is super low, so, you know, if there's like a 5-hatch Hydra play later on, that's going to be the first thing to go. But a cannon's up, and that means you can't bust this with just a few Zerglings. He's going to have to commit to more.
Well,
so here they are on the way.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. There's no drones of the natural, no drones of the third. He's going for mass slings, and Bonneth is caught out in the middle of the map. A little bit uncharacteristic of him to send his Zealot out without proper scouting. And this gateway is likely going to go down, and if this gateway goes down, that's the main part of the wall, and there's only one cannon!
So there's an attempt at rewalling behind that, but yeah, the gateway goes down, and now that means the Lings are not even going to care about the cannons. They run straight through in the main, and that is 6 Lings that have speed. Good luck taking care of those.
Yeah, and he's trying to add on a third cannon at the front, but Lings in his main. No gateway, there is a cyber core, but that's not going to help you when you can build no units, and these Lings are doing an insane amount of damage in the main.
And there's even more coming, so you can't pull your Zealots back, even if you...
Doesn't even have any.
He had saved any Zealots.
Yeah.
But I think that's the true tipping point of this game, is not, oh no, he broke down the gateway. It's he caught all of those Zealots out in the middle when speed finished, and after that, it's like, well, what are you going to do? There's so many Lings here. I think this is just about over.
Yeah, I mean, the Lings run straight past the natural. GG! Bonneth taps out, and Jerry takes game number 2.
Yeah, Jerry K97, the legend. Wow, what a god.
That's insane.
Yeah, it takes a very special player to take down Bonneth. That's really impressive for a player I haven't seen play all that often. So, wow. I don't know what you say about that, Kix. It's
kind of crazy.
That's really impressive.
But yeah, it's really cool that, I mean, if you think about it, the only player that's the Bonneth is actually, I was going to say, the only players that Bonneth has lost to so far in PvZ has actually been Ku, who is an absolute baller in ZPP. I mean, he also lost to Bonneth once as well, but we don't talk about that. He lost to Ho, and he lost to Eon Zerg. So Jerry joining the likes of Eon Zerg are players taking down Bonneth in the STPL, which is just insane.
Yeah, wow, that is actually really impressive. So congratulations. It sucks to see Bonneth lose, but you know, he was trying to do what kind of was the right play, right? Where you defend, you hold off against the Zerglings back at home, and then you run across the map and try to get some counter damage done with like 5 Zealots or so. But there's a ton of speedlings there. They catch the Zealots, they finish killing off the gateway, and it's like, ooh, that sucks.
Activate the kill switch, so let's get into game number 3 when we get back after this short break. Okay guys, welcome back to today's STPL. We currently have iRk 2-0 up against NetWars. NetWars the second place finishers of round 3. So kind of cool. iRk doing so well again. They haven't made it to the playoffs since round 1, but they did beat Seoul and White Clan to get there. So they certainly earned their place, certainly a strong team, and showing it off here in this series. And we've got two of the newer players. Well, Kingpin isn't really a newer player, but two of the newer players in terms of what we've seen in STPL here for NetWars and iRk. So it'd be cool to see how they do. Let's actually introduce our first player here for iRk. Many of you may not know Tim. If you're active in the forum group or Discord, you will see him post there quite a lot. If you're active in the Coach Pupil League, you will know Tim as well, as he is one of the nefarious bosses of CPL. He came along, no one really knew who he was, and he started killing everybody. And with one of the best records in the CPL, he's trying his best here to show he's got it in CPL as well.
Yeah, you know, it's not often we get a chance to see people come out from behind the scenes to actually play in the tournament. I don't remember the one win that Tim has, but as long as this is the real Tim, we can expect more of the same.
Yep, so let's actually have a look at the second player as well. It's going to be Kingpin. Now, Kingpin has played his fair share of games for NetWars. He mainly played in round 1. He played in round 2 as well, because he played against Team 9. But he's only played 2 PCs so far. He did actually win both of them, or it'd be ZVP in this case. He beat Castle and he beat V1. So without further ado, let's introduce the map they're going to be playing on. It's going to be our third map of today, Eye of the Storm. Okay guys, so that was a little introduction to to Eye of the Storm. Let's actually quickly have a look at some of the map features here once again. This is one of the sort of older maps, I guess, in this this season of the STPL. It's actually from 2009. So not the newest map this time. It reminds me a lot of Empire of the Sun, which we saw in number 2. But regardless, it's a very, very fun map. And looking forward to really getting into the nitty-gritty of it here. Let's actually quickly bring up the version I can write on. So as you can see, 4-player map, and once again, I forgot the colors. So that again, so 4 corners, fairly standard. Not entirely sure where the players are going to be spawning, but one major thing about this map is it's very difficult to get a third gas. 2 base play very, very strong on this map. You'll notice that, say for example, we take the top left-hand position. The nearest, obviously you have your natural, the nearest possible third gas, unless you take another main, is going to be this one in center left. Obviously you can have the one on center right, and Zerg very often going to go for that more Sabian-esque 2008 Zerg style of taking the other main. We've seen a few games on this quite recently. The race of Mu Pro League, and overall it's a pretty fun map to watch.
Yeah, they actually brought back a ton of I guess older maps, or maps that you don't see played all that often in MPL, and they actually do it in a lot of the what is it, the KCM games as well. So really, really exciting to see so many like old maps coming back. And of course, it wouldn't be STPL if we didn't just find the weirdest maps to bring.
Yeah, I mean, we've already had kind of like the weirdest map today. We had that on Holy World SE, but we're going to have that in our second series as well. And just a fun fact from iRk Age, obviously clan leader. Tim has actually been promoted within iRk to be the captain of iRk's B team and the co-leader of iRk. So Tim overall, a pretty cool guy. Him here, and let's see how he's gonna do as we get into the game here. It's game number 3 between iRk versus NetWars. iRk are on match point. Can they round out the series and get the first win in the all-important first week? Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we have the P Protoss fighting for iRk. It's their co-leader, Tim.
That's right, and his opponent on the opposite side of the map, in the red, it's Kingpin.
You know?
And Kingpin's the name that I by far know more than Tim, because I am not as active behind the scenes at iRk as I used to be, which was not at all. So I'm just not going to know that. But it is a PVZ, so it's going to look at least different from the last map, and that means that we get we're getting our complete StarCraft breakfast this morning.
Yep, I mean, the good thing about today's cast is I don't believe there's a single mirror, which I know would make a lot of people happy. It kind of makes me laugh when I think back to round 1 and I look at the amount of PvPs we had.
We had so many PvPs.
It was insane. Like, I think every game on Judgment Day was a PvP, I'm fairly certain. There was one ZVZ on there, I remember. But Judgment Day, a fun map nonetheless. We had the same problem in round 2 on Troy. And, looks like they were having a few problems with lag, but they are playing from Poland and USA, so a big difference in location for them. But hopefully it didn't impact the game too much.
Yeah, I hope not as well. I hope the only thing that impacts this game is it being amazing. And I think it will be. I'm not sure about relative skill levels, but that's always kind of one cool thing. If you're watching a game of Brood War, whether it's STPL or whatever, and you don't know which players are playing, or you've never heard of them, or maybe you just don't watch that much, then one of the cool things that you can do is just try to check off the checklist of, is this player good enough to play? Because pro players do that all the time, and a lot of the reasons that playing against some of these top Korean players can be so abusive is that they will just abuse you. They'll say, okay, can this guy defend this? Can this guy defend this? Does he hit this timing? And if you don't, then you just die.
Yeah, it's really worrying, but you know what? It's one of the things that I think we've seen the most of in STPL. We've seen a lot of underdogs come out against some of the best players in the STPL, some of the best Koreans on White Clan, for instance. And there's been a lot of upsets. I mean, maps do play a part of that somewhat, as there have been some maps that have been like, okay, I mean, realistically, if this was in the modern meta at the pro level, it might not be played as often. But because we're not quite at the pro level, the balance doesn't matter too much. And we've just seen some incredible builds coming out from people as well. I mean, I brought up Bradley before. We saw him in game 1. He's the guy we saw Lockdown from. We saw Nukes from him as well. I like to call him the kind of Ghost King. He's kind of my my go-to when I want to learn how to play with ghosts, because I really like using ghosts, and pretty good at it. But we can see the Kingpin is actually taking an incredibly aggressive hatchery placement here. So I get the feeling we're going to see some 3 hatch Hydra play.
Yeah, and I actually really like this. It's kind of rare. I think 5 hatch Hydra is by far the more kind of popular way to go. But, that's more of a build that's Protoss is okay, there's Hydras. I'm going to have some Storms and some Cannons. It's not a mystery, right? Because you get to that point, you know what to scout for. Or at least you should. But 3 hatch Hydra is going to hit a lot faster, and it can be a lot more surprising if you're unable to scout that. And it feels like it's weird to say if you're unable to scout that, because Protoss players are so good at keeping their probes alive these days. Well, there's no probe in the base to scout this kick, so this might be a little bit scary.
Okay, so he's actually going to go into 4 hatcheries at the very least before a Hydra Den, so I mean, Kingpin definitely knew where his opponent was. Maybe he's just expecting that Tim won't actually scout there as well. That's definitely something that could happen. You can see that Tim actually went to the bottom right to check for a hatchery over there and didn't quite see it. Ling is going to find the probe though, but this probe should be able to get back into the base, so he will know the hatchery positioning and you will know what's going on, which is kind of like the main thing in PvZ. Now, we're not seeing it this game. One of the reasons why hatchery builds are so strong on this map against Protoss is if you have a look at the natural choke, there's actually a lot more surface area for the Hydras to attack the top buildings than there are room to build cannons. So that makes it a little bit more awkward. Now, Tim is going to scout that the layers going up, so he's seeing pretty much everything he needs at the moment. Minus this extra hatchery.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, I mean, he's gonna see the hatchery there in the natural, and so he should be able to piece things together. And a lot of times, it's not what you see; it's what you don't see, and you can, tell. Okay, well, there's no,
Hydra Den.
sorry, what was I gonna say? Yeah, there's no Hydra Den. So the Hydra Den was actually just now thrown down in the natural after the probe was killed. So he didn't actually see that, so he won't get the key information that he needs. Although he will see the extra hatchery, and that might tip him off.
Yeah, so he's going to have his Corsair coming up soon as well. He's going to Stargate first, then to Citadel, going into +1 attack on his ground. Very, very standard play from Tim at the moment. That doesn't really surprise me too much. Tim, being a CPL player, has spent a lot of time practicing kind of the same builds over and over again, kind of really refining them. And he's certainly one of the quickest improved players from the CPL overall, I would say. Kingpin, uncharacteristically, actually has a idle drone over his third base, finally managing to send that down, and actually adding a sunken colony at his third base. So I don't actually think he's going to be playing this aggressively, which kind of contradicts where he's put his hatchery. But I think we'll likely see things going a bit more normal. I mean, this first Corsair is likely going to go and scout that base anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, once you get a Corsair, it's like, well, unless they just scourge it before it gets there, and at that point you just have to have a really fast fire, it's not going to be, it's not going to be something that kills a bunch of overlords, but it gives you that scouting, and I think that's the most valuable moment. So at this point, we're starting to figure out, okay, well, what's the deal with this fourth hatchery? And it appears like it's like, well, you just really want so many drones, just like all the drones. But obviously, the lurkers and the hydras should come a little bit later on. That's what this Corsair is here to find out.
Yeah, so Tim sees that extra base, he knows what's going on, sees a creep colony coming up at the natural, that's likely going to be for a spore. Now, the interesting thing about Kingpin's play here is he doesn't have a single Hydralist yet, so he's been droning super hard off his 4 hatcheries. He's actually added on a good number of extra overlords before necessarily needing them. And luckily enough, he's got them all over this spore already, so the first couple of Corsairs aren't really going to be able to do too much damage. And that's one of the major things.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird to see, I mean, 3 spores is a pretty big investment. Is it 3 or is it just 2? I think it's just 2.
There's 1 in the natural, 1 in the third base. He's adding on another sunken colony, I think, because he knows that he doesn't actually have that many units. So we see the Zealots from Tim are actually going to push out onto the middle of the map, and this is where things can get a little bit hairy. Kingpin doesn't really have that much to defend this third base. He's adding on a second sunken, but these Zealots want blood.
Yeah, he has actually no units. Like, does he actually have Zerglings? I think he actually just has no units.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Zerglings, so it's natural, but it's really going to help him too much.
Okay, yeah, he popped a few Hydras earlier, but like you said, Kix, they're not in position. So this third base is going to have a lot of problems. And this is the speed lot attack. You're going to see it almost every single PvZ that does go for these gateway openers. It's just so difficult to hold on. And now the Zealots have a concave on top of the ramp. The Hydras are shooting with the high ground disadvantage. Now he's going to have to use lurkers to burrow, unburrow to try to kill these Zealots. And yeah, maybe that happens eventually, but look at how much damage they've done.
Yeah, I mean, one of the lurkers actually burrowing under the dead sunken colony, hiding himself a little bit. But I mean, the Zealots have just killed so much already. The drones at that base have gone down. And I mean, Tim has just got an unbelievable advantage now. He's up nearly 30 supply.
That's huge. I mean, Zergs are always supposed to be a little bit down in supply in most matchups, but or depending on builds and how it goes. But this is rough. So like I said, killing Zealots with lurkers is just going to be so painful.
Yeah, what can't be understated though is the fact that this was the majority of Tim's army for the time being. I mean, we are going to have lurkers heading into the natural. There's actually not any observers yet. So these 2 lurkers are going to push away the army, actually doing quite a decent amount of damage to the shields. And Kingpin does know that there's no third base yet for Tim, so he looks like he's going to try and push forward with more and more lurkers, and this could be the counter swing that Kingpin needs to try and do some damage.
Does he have to? I was just say, what does he have to detect here? He's got a cannon, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to get +1 armor on this forge. That should finish. I don't think any of the lurkers are actually hitting that as of yet, but you can see that Dragoon spawning in the wrong place, going down immediately. And is there even a Templar Archive yet? No, he's actually skipped Templar Archives, it looks like, for some reason. No, there is one, sorry, it's in the natural. Going for Storm, but that's still not finished. And he's rushing an Observatory now, but once again, I mean, this is a lot of damage coming in from Kingpin.
Yeah, now, you know, it's not like he doesn't have any units. There are a few, but they're outside the base, and that means these speed things are going to get right on top of them. We'll see how much damage they can actually do. His links are not insanely powerful. There's plenty of Zealots to defend the Dragoons. So, looks like the Zealots, or the Zerglings, for the most part, have been dealt with. But how long is it going to take to get an Observer out? Oh my goodness, this is so... Oh, and he loses the High Templar out of the gateway!
Oh, that's a big, big deal. That High Templar was the one thing that gives him the ability to get rid of these lurkers easily with that Storm. But there we go, the gateway's going down. The Forge is going to be the next on the menu for these hungry lurkers. Tim actually starting an upgrade here, maybe being a little bit eager, getting +2 attack on his natural. But here we go, the first Observer is out. He's going to push forward with his Dragoons. And these lurkers are mincemeat to all of these Dragoons.
Yeah, ooh, Lurkers versus Dragoons. Not a great matchup, but very good defense there from Tim. It looked a little bit touch and go because they didn't have any detection, but he was able to get the Observatory and the Obs out in time to hold on. He didn't really lose that much, just a couple of buildings at the front, which he would have had to break through anyways in order to bust out of his base. And now here comes the counterattack. More Lurkers morphing, but they're not done yet.
Yeah, the weird thing is Kingpin has so many hatcheries, but he just doesn't have any units. Had lots of hatcheries this whole time, very, very few Hydralisks. That was the reason why he couldn't hold on to that contain. And once again, Tim is on the offensive. This lurker is going to die before it can morph. And without these lurkers, what on earth is Kingpin going to be able to do to hold on to this? He's going to be pushing in, do some Sunken, so that's a saving grace here for Kingpin. Yeah. And the Observer's going to go down to the Spore. How is Kingpin going to hold? Yeah.
Yeah, if he had Lurkers, then that would actually be huge. That'd be the end of the push. If you could hold here with Lurkers, you'd be in a great spot. Unfortunately, you can't. And look at Kingpin's supply. He's 50 out of 100. So, you know, that's just a lot of Overlords. And maybe you need that to watch out for DTs. I don't think so. It seems excessive to me. He's also floating. At one point, it was 1K, 1K. That's a lot. And maybe you're going to use that for a big swell of Ultras or Mutas or something. But he's not. It's only Hydras, and you don't need economy like that.
He pushed forward once again with the Lurker. It did actually go down before it could burrow. Now it does look like he's holding on slowly but surely. Tim's reinforcement haven't come in. Looks like Tim is planning to take a third base of his own. But I mean, Tim hasn't dealt critical damage. He didn't kill that many drones. Kingpin did pull a few from his natural, but he did overbuild drones. So that was his lack of Hydralisks. But I mean, it looks like Kingpin is going to go and try and go on a counterattack now. I'm not sure I agree with this, but he wants to see if he can do some damage before the army of Tim gets back to defend. No, he's actually going to swing around the back.
Well, the biggest thing is you have to hit before Storm is done, because as soon as the Protoss army has Storm, this clump of Hydras just disappears.
Yeah.
So, does he actually have any Storms? He has one High Templar that's close, another one that's close, but none with actual Storm energy just yet. Okay, just now getting it.
Yeah, so looks like that.
Oh, but he's going to lose it! Oh my god, he's going to snipe the High Templar! Oh my god, that's so huge!
Oh,
he's going to get both High Templar! Holy, that's huge.
It is, but there's so many Zealots, so many Dragoons here already. Kingpin, his army just at many stages of this game just hasn't been big enough. Tim with 2-1 upgrades against the 1-1 of Kingpin. Kingpin actually doing a pretty good job of keeping his army upgraded. But the Overlord goes down, another Hydras at the back going down as well. And Kingpin's trying to sneak a fourth base at this mineral only. I mean, Tim just has so many units here and there's still no Lurkers to defend.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't morph any lurkers behind this. There were idle hydras that could have been lurker eggs, and just now he's going to morph them, but he's morphing them in the front. This is where the zealots are going to be. You don't morph lurkers on top of zealots, and these zealots are going to have an additional armor here in just a second. It's going to be 2/2 zealots, and hydras are not going to kill those.
Yeah, I mean, 2/2 is such an amazing upgrade to get for Protoss. Looks like Tim has broken the front now. This is only going to be a matter of time, I think, before Kingpin is forced to tap out. Tim is up 70 supply on his opponent right now. The lurkers have popped out, but there's an observer here already.
Well, I think that does about to do it. I don't know if there's any way you come back from here. It's 40 supply versus 120, and Tim, the man, he's back.
I mean, he's played 2 games in the STPL now. I believe he actually won both of them, beat Rota in round 3. And, I mean, just absolutely dominating Kingpin here. This is not a good look for NetWars, going 3-0 down against iRk in the first week. That's not a position they want to put themselves in. Group A is such a strong group, and any loss could actually be the difference between making it to the playoffs. And, I mean, NetWars, they're the king of Kongs in the STPL so far, second twice in a row. And they may not even get a chance later on. Obviously, there's a long time left to go. But Kingpin staying in the game, kind of working through his loss, I think, trying to work out what was going on. But I mean, Kingpin's going to try and send some units in, but I mean, that's not going to be enough. GG! Kingpin taps out, and iRk Tim takes iRk to the 3-0 lead.
That's incredible. I think if you just look at the stats for both of these rosters, it's hard to root against NetWars. They have some of the crazy good, crazy best players in the STPL, and you just don't predict that they're going to lose. And like you said, iRk, sure, they did well in round 1, but it's been a long time since round 1. So really, really cool to see so many, a lot of newer players really coming in big for iRk.
Yeah, so Tim especially is a very, very new player. I don't know how long he's been playing, but as I said, he appeared for the CPL this season. I'm going to have to admit, Tim, I haven't seen you before until now. You've probably been around and I've just not noticed your name. It's quite a common name, I guess, Tim, but it's insane. Like, you show how good you are in the CPL, you turn up in SCPL, and you win against Kingpin straight away. Kingpin has beaten some players up until now. So that's a great, great job by you, and that's going to take us into game number 4. When we get back after this, if you haven't seen the SCPL before, all 4 games are always played, so even though iRk take the 3-0 victory, we're going to add on the final game here, as that will come into the stats at the end. So without further ado, let's load up the next replay. Let's get started with Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix, joining me is Rapid, and we're here for set number 1 of today's STPL. iRk are currently up against NetWars, and it's going to be up to NetWars' next player to win some pride back for Poland.
Yeah, and what a player to do it, right? We've got one of the nicest, kindest, most successful with it, hip, cool, great guy in the world. It's Zero, and it's up to him to reclaim any shred of dignity that NetWars has. And obviously, I'm blowing that out of proportion. But Zero is a great guy. He runs BSL, another kind of 1v1 tournament. And it is cool to watch him play because he is one of the few commentators, tournament organizers who is just absolutely very good at the game.
Yeah, now I managed to reset my overlay, but it's all good. We can see that Zero, up until now, he's only played 4 TVZs. He's actually lost 3 of them. But when you look at who he's played against, he beat the camper for Rev, and he lost to iRk 3 times. iRk and Zero, they've been a matchup we've seen a few times throughout this this STPL season, and they've always been 6-hit games. It's just absolutely insane that we may get to see that this round as well, because NetWars and Red are back in the same group again. And I mean, Zero is just an all-around great guy. Our second player is someone a little bit unknown to me. I think he's more of an old name that I don't recognize. Poor face, I don't have a wig. God damn it. I just saw that. But yeah, Rasui hasn't actually played so far in the STPL, so this is going to be his debut game. I mean, much like before, I said I didn't really know too much about Tim's playstyle. Rasui is a complete unknown to me. I don't know what his Terran's like. I don't know how good he is. And I'm kind of interested to see how Zero, one of the top Zergs in the foreign scene at the moment, as well as being one of the top casters as well, is going to do against a man he maybe doesn't know as much. But let's actually have a look at what map they're going to be playing on. It's going to be Great Barrier Reef. And here's the intro. Okay guys, welcome back. So we're actually going to have a quick look at the next map here. It's Great Barrier Reef. Now, Great Barrier Reef, one of the 3-player maps we have here for round 4. Obviously 12, 6, and 9 o'clock spawns. Much like Holy World SE, this map, so if we have a look at the top right, has this kind of outsider style base. It has a few of them around the map. You can see them here. One of them has a gas on either side, so if you were to say a Terran float a command center over, you can take that early gas, and if you're a Zerg player, you can kind of do the same thing by glitching a drone through. But Rasui, according to chat, has 2.2k MMR, and he's in iRk B in BWCL, so looks like the reason why he was in the NetWars Discord was someone tried to lure him out of iRk, but here we have Aggie throwing him in the ring for the 4th game of their first week of round 1. So Aggie definitely has a lot of faith in team members. I mean, this map, once again, obviously the natural is quite easy to take, very, very small strokes at the front. Not really too much else to say other than there is this kind of bit in the middle. This is quite thin, so it's very good for Zerglings to try and go through. Try and get kind of a surround on Bioforces, but very good for Bioforces to abuse in the early game as well.
Yeah, I honestly, Great Barrier Reef is not a map that I am super familiar with because it kind of plays like it kind of plays like Whiteout without the trees. If you want to think about it that way, but the mains are a little bit twisted, and it is a strange kind of group of constructions, because you do have to be really careful when you move through the middle, because the middle of Whiteout is just a place you can walk through. But in this map, there's all sorts of little like hooks of unpathable terrain, so it is actually really cool. And the only thing that can make it cooler in StarCraft 2, there's a map that looks a lot like Great Barrier Reef, but it has this cool effect where when the units die, they float up because they're underwater, right?
Oh yeah, Abyssal
So if they
Reef.
could, yeah, so if they could put that effect in here, that would be sick. But I don't want to stress the map editor for Brood War any more than it already has been.
Yeah, so this is going to be a sick matchup regardless. Can't wait to get into it. So let's get into game number 4 between iRk and NetWars. Starting us off here in the bottom right position, we do have our Green Zerg fighting for NetWars. It's gonna be the man himself. It's Zero.
Yep, and his opponent on the other side of the map in the teal, or malachite, or whatever you want to call that color. It's our Terran player, Rasoe.
You know, for sort of older fans of Brood War, you may think, I swear I've seen this map before. I mean, it was used in the 2009, I think it was either 2009 or 2010. It was in one of the OSLs. And before that, the precursor to this map was actually an Ice World map, El Nino. And now that, for some reason, usually you'll see them go for just like a straight upgrade to like Neo, like you see Neo Medusa on the ladder was an upgrade to Medusa. With El Nino, for whatever reason, they decided to completely change the tile set and update it that way. So we went from kind of an icy map, it wasn't sort of overbearing on the eyes because it snowed too much. But then they made it a sort of a kind of watery themed map, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how you... Maybe the ice melts. Maybe this is what happens when the glaciers aren't there anymore, Kicks.
Oh no.
They go underwater. And then somehow coral that takes years and years and years to form is suddenly also there. I don't know. Also, you know, when you're calling a map Great Barrier Reef, like there's coral pat. Where's the barrier?
I mean,
yeah, I didn't think that one through, did you, Kick?
I guess the barrier could be the bit in the middle, maybe? Kind of a barrier, but even then...
I don't know. Calling that a... Also, how can you have a barrier reef without Nemo? Where are the fish?
Well,
where are my neutral fish critters?
I mean, to get Nemo, you'd have to find him first, so...
Oh yeah, we haven't done that yet.
That's the problem, yeah. But there's how
keep
players...
finding him and keep losing him again. Wait until there's a player named Nemo, and we get to
We get to put him on here, and then we can finally say, wow, we found him. We found Nemo. Oh my god.
Yeah! I'm waiting for it. Alright, now, there's an off-center hatchery, thanks to the eBay block, but I think that's just going to serve as the third, but it doesn't mean that you won't be able to mine from the natural as quickly. That's always super annoying. But hey, there's a bunch of lings running across the map. Uh-oh, SCVs are pretty good. But there is only one Marine at the top of this ramp, so that's not a lot of DPS.
And that bottom SCV, I mean, they're not actually repairing properly. These lings could actually break through. This could be a very, very quick fourth game. Oh my god, this is kind of the series I was hoping it'd be super long, super epic, but things are not looking good for NetWars here. But iRk, I mean, Zero doing a lot better, actually being the one on the aggressive. Now, he does actually take down 2 of the Marines already, just 1 does remain. I mean, these 2 lings probably aren't going to be able to do too much damage, but it's the mental damage done. It's the amount of APM that Rasoe has spent to try and defend against this. The command center isn't even down yet, and that is so unbelievably late when you're going for this kind of gasless expand.
Yeah, no, the point of gasless expo is that you're supposed to get your command center down pretty fast. So when you do that and you don't have gas, or when that's delayed and you don't have gas, it's like, well, you know, what is this build doing, right? And he's gonna, I don't know if he knows whether or not he needs a bunker or not. He probably can figure out that he might be okay without it. And so, yeah, he's gonna get across the map and see that, you know, he doesn't need a bunker like ASAP, but he is gonna need one after depot eventually, because there's just so many ways you get busted after you've taken just that slight little amount of early game damage.
And now it's not all, not not all plants and roses over here for Zero either, though, because Zero's second hatchery was off-center. He couldn't mine from it. And he did spend a lot of that early lava on Lynx. He's not got his second, he's not got his natural mining yet. And he's only just started mining gas. He's got enough for lair, so that's going to be his first port of call. But Lynx speed is a way off. His natural has only just now started mining. And that's only going to be 2 drones to start with. Now, the funny thing about how Zero is playing this, he did get that forward hatchery, kind of out of time. But that does allow him to place incredibly far forward some colonies, so that kind of leads him into a bit of an interesting defense situation a little bit later on.
Yeah, I always love seeing how like the places that players get themselves into, because a lot of times there's some reactions or maybe overreactions where something doesn't work out at one point, so you have to like compensate for that, and then you wind up at 15 minutes and the SimCity in your base just looks horrendous,
Yeah,
or
I've been there.
you have to like just desperately try to hold on 12 fronts and you just can't make it work anymore. So things can sort of like the Brood War rope can unfray as you play, and I think that's what we might start to see from Rassoe. It's like, okay, I held on. I might be okay for now, but now he's going to run a bunch of Marines out into the map and see what he can find.
Yeah, now the first set Marines have pushed forward, that is a little bit of a benefit for Rassoe. He's going to force out some more defense from Zero, who spent a lot of time trying to rebuild his drone count. I mean, he is finally getting a spire up in the main. There's only one sunken at the front, so Rassoe, of course, not gaining too much from that little Marine push out. He does have to pull back. He is going for 2 Rex Academy, through Rex Academy at this point, which does give him those earlier medics. Stim already about halfway done. +1 going to be a little bit later with this build, but that's not much of a problem. The Zero definitely got the better end of that engagement to start with, at least I thought he did, but he spammed so many Lings. But could this actually work out for Zero?
I think it actually could. Like, let's see, what is there at the front? It's just bio. There's no like, there's no bunker here. I kept talking about bunker, and like, yeah, you do actually need one of those at some point. Otherwise, you're just gonna get run over. So, let's see. Here we go.
Baiting them out. Here we go. Looks like he's gonna push in from the bottom. The medics are actually the big target here. If he can get those, that'll be a big deal. The medics actually walled off away from the Marines, but managing to survive in Zero, throwing away a lot of those Lings.
Yeah, Zero didn't target the medics. I mean, maybe that's not even the biggest thing. The SCV pull was beautiful. It was just in time. Now there's a bunker coming down. He's like, oh my goodness.
It's like, well, I needed that, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zero is in a little bit of trouble. He has a forward sunken, but he's going to need more than just one. He's just now throwing it down when the bio is almost halfway across the map. And still has the 2 medics in the comp, so it's like, oof, the mutas coming out are going to pop just in time, barely, but still, you don't want to fight off of a control group of bio with mutas.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's a really difficult situation. You see players like Heffa do it at the pro level and struggling as well. It's not this thing to do. He is going to have to sort of bounce back and forward over this coral to try and keep himself alive. One of the mutas actually incredibly damaged, and he in fact does. Good control by Zero so far.
Yeah, I'm glad he removed that one muta, but he does need to put the other one back in the control group. And he is going to defend against this bio ball, so well done with that. Maybe a little bit of an unfortunate muta loss there at the end, but he did it, all right? He's safe. He's got 3 hatches up. He might need to kind of think about taking another hatchery, maybe at the sort of outsider-esque 6 o'clock base, but he'll get there. He's not going to die just yet to that push. But look at how well prepared Rassoe is on the other side. He's got tons and tons of turrets. This guy has so many turrets.
The trouble is, this is one of those problems with losing your early bio clump. Now, it may have looked like Rassoe did an okay job. I mean, he didn't even pick off on mute, but I take that back. But the trouble with losing your early bio, especially when you go for this 2 Rax Academy build, if you get the quick attack, but without the bio, you have no map presence. This gives Zero the power to do really whatever he wants to. And you can see Zero sort of relying a lot on his muteless micro again, gonna send in another group of them, putting the 3 damaged ones at the back, and he's gonna go in and dive on the turrets.
Here we go. He is gonna try to poke his way in there. 3 turrets. I mean, I don't know too many Zergs that fight 3 turrets straight up, and he's not even going to be able to kill the final 2. Okay, finally does get that with the last volley before he falls out. And he didn't actually lose that many mutas. He still has 9 left over after all of that. He's killed like 5 turrets. Like, oh my god, this is
Yeah, that's insane.
such a good position.
I
yeah.
mean, the trouble is he's finding himself stuck in between the bio and more turrets now, though. But there's just not enough bio to deal with this. Zero is losing some more mutas as time goes on, though. Little bit of mismarker, actually losing 6 of them immediately. Rasui getting 8 mutas before the final one gets away. But Zero has so many still, he's rebuilt them. Not got a third base, so he does need to look at expanding soon. But I mean, it looks like he still wants to try and do damage, and there's only a siege tank at the front to defend, and that tank is gonna go down!
Wow, he actually does pick off a tank. That's really good. He remacroed a bunch of mutas, so this is more like that action style where you do actually build mutas consistently the whole game. But it is expensive. You're not going to have tech like you would as a normal Zerg player.
He missed a few volleys.
Yeah, but he is going to be able to kill off these turrets again, maybe? Oh man, he's losing so many mutas here.
Yeah, I mean, the one benefit he's got from this is Rasui isn't able to push out on the map, but the fact that Zero hasn't gone for a third gas here is a big, big problem for him. He's actually lost so many mutas, he's just gonna GG. Rasui takes down Zero in game number 4 and gives iRk the 4-0 sweep over NetWars.
Wow, I mean, damn, that's impressive.
That's crazy.
What a way to start off round 4 of STPL than beating one of the top placing teams that just is so consistent. Every single season, NetWars is like top 2, almost exclusively, with the exception of round 1 when iRk were so dominant. So maybe they're back to form kicks, but it might be a little bit too early to tell.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we can't judge too early. It is just the first set of round 1, but let's actually quickly have a look at the results screen here to see exactly how things went. Now, looks like there was a little bit of a bug with the overlay, but it's fine. We saw that Kenzie took down Radley in game number 1, Jerry took down Bonneth in game number 2, Tim took down Kingpin in game number 3, and Rasui takes down Great Barrier Reef. Oh, sorry. He takes down Zero on Great Barrier Reef for that 4-0 victory. iRk coming back.
It's super impressive. Gotta say, not only do I love the new STPL overlays, but it is nice to see iRk kind of coming back. And so we're going to have maybe a few more contenders for our top 4 teams that make it out at the end. And then, of course, eventually we're going to force Kicks to give away the prize pool money at the end of this tournament. And so if you're going to start this well, maybe iRk can keep it going, and we'll see more good things from them later on.
Yep, so without further ado, let's go into a quick 5-minute break, just to give us a chance to get a drink or so, and we'll be back with our second series. When we get back, it's going to be FBW versus Thai, so that should be another 6 series.